And a good Tuesday evening, everybody. Christopher McDonald back with you. We're grateful to have you, man. We've got a jam-up lineup tonight. We've got the one and only, the best man I know in the Rio Grande Valley tonight, Rolando Rodriguez, my dear buddy, my friend. And we have had some wonderful journeys together down there on that border. And, buddy, it's good to have you tonight on the McFiles. It's been a while. I know you got to get up in the morning and get on the road, so I'm grateful you could be with me tonight. I appreciate you, man. It's good to see you tonight.
Well, thank you, Christopher. You know what? I'm still in downtown McAllen. Let me just move a little bit. You're cutting off a little bit. I don't want for this to happen.
Okay.
During the interview. But you let me know you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, buddy. You're fine as long as you can hear me. You sound fine to me.
Perfect. Right there.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Christopher, for the invitation once again. And it's always a pleasure and an honor to be with you and to, come together again, in this kind of discussions, regarding what's going on in our beautiful nation. And it is really, a shame. And I really think we are living dangerous times, Christopher.
Dangerous times, my friend. And, I've been doing our show, Rolando, almost 7.5, 8 years. And I'm so grateful to God for everything and the journey. And we've met some wonderful, wonderful people along this journey, wonderful guests. You're one of them. You're one of those that a guest turned into a friendship. And we've been to that border 3 times with you. And I tell you, looking forward to coming back down there soon when we get our schedule right. But I want you to sort of chime in tonight what you're seeing in L.A.
Hello.
Yeah, we're here, buddy. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
You're right there, Christopher. Yes.
Yeah, there
right
we go.
There.
I'm going to keep my phone right here. What's your thoughts about the riots in L.A. tonight? Because it's a dangerous situation. They spread to Chicago tonight. We got breaking news from there. Rolando, I'm surprised y'all have not had more of it down in South Texas, but what's your thoughts on all this, and what's the latest at the border tonight?
Well, Christopher, once again, thank you so much for the invitation. And Christopher, as I was telling you, we're living dangerous times. There's an agenda, against our country. There's an agenda against our freedom. And there's an agenda, against of our faith. And these people, they cannot stop, probably thinking every day what to do, so they can stop our faith in God, number one. And number two, how they can stop our freedoms. And but this is, I always, when talk to other friends, and especially with you, we always agree and come to the same conclusion. This is a fight between good and evil. There's no other way around. And sadly, governors like Gavin Newsom, people in government like Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Chuck Schumer, and many, many, many others, they are against America, and they are behind these riots. They are behind all this nonsense. They want to destroy America. And my heart, fills with joy when I go into social media once in a while, especially TikTok, and I see, a few Hispanic people, supporting President Trump. And I said, well, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you, because we will not have another time. This is the time that either we lose this nation or we save America. President Trump is in office, yes, but his job in office, these 4 years, I knew about it. We all knew about it. They won't be easy. It won't be easy at all. But we have no other choice, Christopher, just to fight, and to fight with what I think we have to fight with wisdom. We have to pray, and so God can give us strategies on how to fight this, to maintain our freedoms in this beautiful country.
Absolutely, buddy. Have you seen any riots down there on the border, or is everything that's happening tonight more inland, like where it's at in these cities? Have y'all had any of this rioting and chaos down there, buddy?
No, this is a peaceful area. The only thing we witnessed here, it was under Joe Biden and Kamala, and you came like 3 times, all the disaster regarding immigration. But let me tell you something. I was checking like 4 hours ago, and these people, they're planning to have all over the nation on the 14th.
Yes.
Riots, all over the nation. And I think there's a couple of places here in McAllen or here in the Rio Grande Valley where they're going to get together to do exactly the same thing. Now, I do believe one thing. Here, they don't burn things and they don't burn businesses. They don't burn cars. They won't. I really don't think they'll do that. But yes, they're going to get together just, to make noise and make media, TV channels to come and witness what they're gonna do. Yes, but I really don't think it's gonna get that bad here, like burning businesses. I really don't think so.
Have you seen a decrease? I know that the border has definitely been much more secure under Trump. Do you think the cartels are retreating, Rorlando, or do you think they're digging down, sort of embedding themselves more in the public? Are they more dangerous right now, maybe, than they were before because they're getting more sort of subtle and within the population and not so much outward now?
Yes, cartels, they get more dangerous, every day, Christopher. To be honest, they are extremely, extremely dangerous. Especially now, they're not getting money from illegal people, from illegal immigrants. They're not getting any money, so they have to get money somehow.
Great point.
Yeah. So what they're doing in Mexico, they do extortion. Every business, they ask for money to every business they find, and they go, and if you don't cooperate with them, they just kidnap you and kill you. That's what they do. They even this is crazy. They even wanted to charge people money for every tree you have in your patio.
Good Lord.
That's crazy.
That sounds like the Dems up here, man. That sounds like a Democrat party in Mexico. Well, I will just say this. Some of the people, we've got a sort of a new audience since you've been on here the first time, man. And, we maybe don't have time to do it tonight, but I'd like to get you back on soon and give you testimony again because you're lucky to be here because you had a brush up with these cartels several years back. And it's good that we're talking to Rolando Rodriguez in person and not by tape.
Yes. Only God saved me from the hands of these criminals. I do have a powerful testimony. I had a dream the night before, and my dream came, to pass exactly, the way, what God showed me, and God delivered me from the hands of the cartels in a miraculous way. And that's why I thank God every day, And you know what, Christopher? I had to go to Mexico 3 days ago because I still have, most of my family, they live in Monterrey, Mexico. It's a big city. And, my family, they still have farms and ranches, like an hour away from Monterrey. And one of my mother's oldest brother, he's 94. He's still in good shape and everything, but he had to go to the hospital for 1 day because he started coughing a lot. And well, we went to see him anyway. But you know what? When you drive, when you cross the border, as soon as you cross the border, and you have to drive 2 hours or 2.5 hours all the way to Monterrey, and sometimes on the highway, there's places that are kind of lonely, you feel like, oh my God, I hope the cartel doesn't come and follow me or stop me or whatever.
I bet.
You know what? Because they do. I mean, a lot of people, they go and they don't come back.
That's true. I thought about you when you told me you went down there. I was like, man, you're a brave hombre. I tell you, man, that's why we're friends, because you got some courage. I remember that day. I don't know if you remember. We were at the Rio Grande River, man, and you were moving in and out of the trees, and I was sitting there with my camera, and you were staying out of the way, and you said, you don't want to be seen, man. I said, I live here. You don't, McDonald, but I live here. So it's dangerous to live down there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they were taking pictures of us, and
Yes.
and as soon as they find me, they think, I mean, if they took a good picture, of myself, and they investigate me, whatever, they'll find me. So because they are very sophisticated, you know what they're doing now, Christopher, and just for you to know, and all your the wonderful people that follows you. Like, let me see, somewhere around 5 months ago, a friend of mine sent me a video from Mexico where the cartels, they fly these, how do you call it? Oh my God. This drone, with cameras and everything, and they, with the drone, they threw a bomb to the soldiers, to the Mexican army,
Wow.
and they killed like 3 or 4 soldiers. And they sent me the video. I have it, and what I did is I sent the video to a friend of mine, because he's a real good friend of Tom Homan.
Wow.
And I told him, send these to Tom Homan, and tell Tom Homan to send it to President Trump or to J.D. Vance. Long story short, like 2 months after that video, J.D. Vance came to the border, and he talked about my video. He mentioned my video.
That's great.
And yes, and you know what? And he said, that's why now, with more accurate information, it's a good thing that we proclaim that cartels are terrorist organizations. And somehow, they get more and more, they get more sophisticated. And that's not good for America. It's not good for Mexico. It's not good for America. And another thing, Christopher, like a month ago, I went to a wedding, and some people came from Mexico to this wedding here on the Texas side. And I saw a couple of friends from Mexico, and they said, "Hey, Rolando, good to see you." And they asked me, "Hey, come and sit here with us," So I went and sat down with them a little bit, and we talk and everything. But the first thing they asked me, "Rolando, when is President Trump taking over, into Mexico? We need him in Mexico."
Right.
Yes. And another thing, Christopher, like 10 or 12 days ago, I lost one of my first cousins, and he had a motorcycle accident in Monterrey, Mexico, and he got killed. So we have our own cemetery, or my family, they have their own cemetery in this beautiful place, in where my grandparents, grew up in like an hour away from Monterrey. Anyway, long story short, me and my family, we went to the funeral, to my cousin's funeral, and other cousins came to me and they asked me, "Hey, Rolando, thank you for supporting President Trump. And we really need Trump in Mexico. We want for him to just take over Mexico with the, with the Marines, with the Army. We need to get rid of these cartels in Mexico." So, the Mexican government, they act, no, Mexico, it's a sovereign country. We cannot allow other armies, or other people to come in and invade us. But you know what? Mexico's government right now is a communist government,
Yes,
or
they are.
socialist.
Well,
going into communist. Yes.
she's financing the LA riots, Rolando. She's actually sending money and basically encouraging these illegals to do what they're doing. In fact, tonight CNN had the audacity to come out and say that the Mexican flag, has become the symbol of these protests. And I think that that's getting lost in this discussion, how much Mexico's got its hands in what's going on in LA. And as again, LA is just the tipping point. It's going to bubble over in these other cities. But to me, let me ask you a question. Is that not an act of war to you? To me, that's an act of war when a country is fomenting rebellion in another country. I don't think that we should put up with that. And I think that we should address it. And if they don't stop it, we deal with it. And I mean, there's ways to deal with it. We don't have to do it militarily, but we'll tell you what, we'll tear them to death. And the president of Mexico, Ms. Presidente, is going to realize that you don't mess with America. You don't do this. This is unacceptable behavior, and you're not going to foment rebellion in our country.
I mean, it is, it is a shame what they're doing, Christopher. My question is, if they raise up the Mexican flag here and they go do riots and all these kind of crazy things, why they don't just go back to Mexico? If they love Mexico, they must just go back to Mexico. But those are things that we can just don't understand. If I go to Mexico, Christopher, and if I raise up the American flag in Mexico, they're gonna come after me.
Absolutely,
for sure.
They will.
They will, especially the cartels. I can go, with a cap with my U.S. flag, and I think there would be no problem. But raising a flag, that's a different story. I really believe that every country should raise other countries' flag, but only when, let's say, if the Mexican president would come to the United States, to the White House, it's okay to raise up both flags. That's fine. That's friendship between, the two countries. But doing riots and raising up another country's flag, that's an act of war.
Absolutely.
No,
totally agree.
Yes.
Totally agree, man. Totally agree. How has things got less dangerous around the border since Trump has cracked down? More dangerous, about the same? It's got. The illegals are not coming in. Do you feel like that there is because to me always, Orlando, the 3 times I came to the Rio Grande Valley, to me the Rio Grande Valley was always ground zero. I never felt like California was ground zero. I always felt that border down there near the Rio Grande was where a majority of this illegal influx was coming, and also Laredo, just north of Texas there on the northern end of that, right there. But there's got to have been a change that you've seen since January the 20th when Trump took over, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, now big change. Now, I have not seen any illegals coming, really. That's the truth. Thank God for that. But, on the other side, on the Mexican side, the danger is still there. It is extremely dangerous just to cross the border. And 2 days ago when we went to Monterey, I had no other choice. I had to take my mom to see her brother. And we wanted to see my uncle and family over there. But you know what? My family, they love they love Mexico, of course, but they also love the United States. Most of my cousins, they work on this side of the border. They work very hard at the at the refineries.
Yes.
Yeah, they are engineers. I have cousins that are engineers at the refineries, and they are they have. They manage a lot of people, and what they do, is they just come to bless Texas and the oil industry, and they live here. They have their homes here, but we still have some land over there, Christopher, because my grandfather, had a nice ranch and farm and everything. So we still have that over there, across the border. But we love USA. We do nothing but come and work and bless this beautiful country. We respect everything. And another thing, Christopher, just me. My parents were born in Mexico. I was born here in McAllen, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yes.
But guess what? Just to go to Mexico, I had to get a permit by law to go into Mexico.
Come on.
A Mexican permit.
Come on.
And I do it because that's the law. I had to do
That's
it.
the law. Exactly
And
right,
I
Rolando.
respect
Go
it.
ahead. I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
I could go without the permit, and I speak Spanish, no problem, but I don't do that. I never break Mexico's law. I respect every law in Mexico, and I get my permit according to the Mexican law, and I never break into Mexico without a permit.
And tell the people, I'm glad you said that, because tell the people what would happen to you if you did. You would be executed, my friend. You would be executed down there.
Yeah, first of all, I would go to jail.
First, you'd go to jail, but you may not see the
Yes.
light of day if you went to jail. If you did the things down there, and we did the things in other countries that we do and we allow here in America, correct?
You know what? Oh my God. I really don't understand why they are doing all these kind of riots, America is the most friendly country in the world. America is the country that lets people in, more than any other country in the world.
That's so
And
true,
you know
buddy.
what? And you know what, Christopher? Many, not everybody, okay, but most of our Border Patrol agents, they have in their Border Patrol vehicles, they have clothes, they have water, they have tennis shoes, just in case they see somebody, crossing the border without shoe, without clothes, or without a shirt, whatever, without water, just to help people. Tell me, in what country they receive people like that, Christopher?
They don't, buddy. There is none. I mean, that's the thing. There is so much that we allow here that nobody could get away with anywhere else. Let me ask you a question, and I know we're going to keep you a little while longer. I know you got a long trip tomorrow, and I want to get you out of here, but we're going to get you back on for a longer interview when you have time. I do want to ask you a question. If you were talking to President Trump tonight and Tom Homan, and y'all, Tom Homan personally, I think he's done an outstanding job with what he's done so far with the border. What would you tell him to do with the LA riots? Do you think he's handling this in a measured manner? I know the media don't think he is, but I believe that he's handling it as good as he can, and I'm also sure he don't need to be even tougher on these people, Rolando. But what would you do and say to him tonight if he had your ear to how to handle these rioters in LA?
You know what, Christopher, since I was kidnapped in 2007.
Yes.
And somehow my brain, my mind developed, ways to overcome evil, to overcome this kind of manifestations, on the streets but if I think President Trump is doing exactly what he has to do. He's sending the Marines and soldiers and everything. But I would tell him, I would just thank him for what he's doing. He's doing the right thing. Maybe I will tell him to send more.
I would too. No, that's what I'm saying, man. I think that he's got these people on the ropes, and I would absolutely not pull back right now. And Rolando, I think too. Look, I think Trump realizes he don't have. He's on a short time leash because God knows where this country is going to be in 2 years. I would hope that we would not put these crazy Dems back in power, but you never know what's going to happen in these midterms, man. And if they get back in power, all of this stops. And he's going to have. I think that's why he's doing it so fast, don't you? I think that's why he's trying to do what he's doing and getting it done as quickly as he can.
Yes, because we never know. We have an enemy against our country, And the enemy, the enemy is not, I mean, we have enemies all over the world, but the worst enemy we have is within, they live in here, and that's the Democratic Party. They are not
so
democratic anymore. They are communists, and that's the worst enemy, of America right now. So I really, this is what I tell my friends all the time when they ask me, "Hey, how's President Trump doing?" This is what I tell them: pray for him, and pray for him.
Do
That's
you?
what he's
And I'm
doing.
glad you brought
He's
that
not
up.
easy.
Do you see him under more danger right now than he would normally be?
Yes, he's always in danger, always, always. But right now more than ever. Yes, I think that he should just continue doing what he's doing. I mean, send as many troops as he can, no matter what media says, no matter what people says. I mean, and this is like a dangerous line, to cross, because the danger, Christopher, this is the greatest danger that could happen, okay? If one of these protesters dies because rubber bullet or whatever,
Right.
things are gonna get worse. I know.
I know what you're saying, and I've thought about that too. If there is a death in Orlando, we've been very fortunate that there's not been any death in this, and I think that that's something that should be, again, it's not being reported, but we've been very fortunate we've not seen any of that. But I'm with you. I think it would blow everything to it would blow everything to smithereens without a doubt, man. Well, buddy, listen, I know you got a long trip ahead of you tomorrow. I'm going to let you go, but please let me, when you get back, how long are you going to be in D.C.?
I'll be back on the 14th at night. I should be back. I have a meeting. I was invited to a meeting in the White House for Thursday morning, and then another meeting in Congress on Friday morning.
All right, now I want you to do me a favor when you get to the White House. Please tell the powers that be that you've got a Southern friend. And tell him he's a redneck, but he's a Southern redneck, and tell him that he's a fun guy, and he would die to meet President Trump. Just wants to say hello, and tell him I'm pro-Trump. Tell him, say, President Trump, you got to listen to this guy. He is your biggest fan, and he would love to meet you and come to the White House just to say hello, just to shake your hand. So I'm like Joseph in the prison, telling the baker not to forget him when he gets to the big house. So when you get to the big house this weekend, please remember your buddy down here and say, hey, y'all got to get Chris McDonald up here, And so I'm putting that in your hands, Rodriguez. I'm just saying now. Just saying.
You know what? I really hope and pray that I can get to see President Trump. But you know what? I was invited by the Faith. Faith. They open up, a new department in the White House, and they call it the Faith Office or something like that. And that's the department that invited me. So we're gonna have the meeting with them. But I really hope and pray, that I'm able to see and talk at least a little bit with President Trump.
But I hope you do. And look, I want you to know this before you go. I said a while ago, I may have cut out on you. In all the journey that we've had in this show, one of the greatest things that I say that I can look back on when all this may be over. I hope it never ends, to be frank with you. But if the day comes that it does, I'm going to look back on this journey. I'm going to be so grateful that guests like you have become friends, and that you always have a welcome mat here at the house. Whenever you come to Tennessee, you're always family. And I want you to be safe. Looking forward to seeing you in person very soon again. And we're going to get down to that border and have some fellowship and do some videos again. And listen, I just appreciate what you've done. And thank you for being more than a guest on a McFiles, but you're my friend and a true patriot, a true patriot, a true man of God. And you got a friend in Christopher McDonald for life, always.
Christopher, thank you so much. And thank you for what you do. I really appreciate you and every person, all over the nation that is there every day, just lifting up the spirit, of America, lifting up the spirit of faith in the American people. Thank you for what you do. You're a true patriot. You are a blessing. You are a blessing. And just one thing, Christopher, please never, never lose faith. No matter how dangerous, how bad it gets, God has the control of everything.
God has control of everything, buddy. That is so true. That is so well said, my friend.
A big hug for you. Thank you for the invitation once again. And a big hug and blessings for all the people that follows you.
And we'll see you soon, my friend. You be safe tomorrow on that trip, okay? God bless you.
I'll send you some picture from the White House, okay?
Now, listen, if you send me a picture of that White House and I don't get an invite, instead of steak when you come, I'm going to feed you a McDonald's hamburger and stale French fries. You hear me? So your steak dinner is pending in the wings. But I want an invitation, Rodriguez. Okay? Because I've got to say this. I saw you at that White House ball here. I guess it was back in the wintertime, and you was all decked out in that tux, and I was like, oh, look at this. Look at this. And, I never get invited to these things. And but maybe it's because I am a redneck Southerner. They'd be afraid what I would... they would be afraid. They may be afraid of what I would look like in one of those. But you look great, man. And I'm proud of you. But we'll talk soon, okay, buddy? Don't forget me down here.
Hey, God bless you. Thanks for everything.
Bless you, my friend. Rolando Rodriguez, everybody. Put some fire in that house for him. That's my buddy. I was trying to find a picture of him that we took together. He came through here one night. I guess it was back. It's been almost a year ago now. I thought it was sooner, but he called me up one night. He was in West Tennessee coming. He's taking a trip to the north. He was hauling things for people, and it was mid hours of the morning. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and he said, I ain't got nowhere to stop. I said, don't park on the truck stop. Come in here. And he came, and we had such a good time of short fellowship in the morning. He had breakfast with me the next morning, and so good to see him. And me and him, we've been fighting together down on that border 3 times. Went in May of 19, August of 19, and then the April of 21. That trip was the memorable one. That was when the cartel shot at us, and we heard gunshots. And Orlando, you heard them. They were taking pictures of us at the Rio Grande River. Caught COVID down there that year, and that was a year I'd like to forget in many ways. But praise God for people like Rolando Rodriguez. Now, we got one other thing. I want to get Jeemes Akers on the line, if you don't mind, just briefly tonight. He's going to be with me more Thursday night, but I do want to talk to Jeemes a little bit because we've got some news. Let's see here. Let me see if he can come on and talk to us tonight, because we've got let's see here. Let's see if he'll answer the phone here. If he don't, we'll play some video. He'll call me back, I'm sure. Let's see if he'll answer. Because we wanted to talk about a developing story tonight from the Muslim world. Your call has been forwarded. Well, our call's been forwarded to voicemail, so we'll see if he'll call back. But we're going to have him on Thursday night. There was a Muslim cleric today, or actually the new leader of Al Qaeda, that has called for the death of Trump, and he let me see here if I can get this picture here to download. I think I can. Will it show up there? No, it didn't show up yet. It will in a minute. But I wanted to show a picture of Orlando with this. But we're going to have that story. We talked about it today on the radio show. And then we had another story I wanted to talk to Jeemes about tonight. China and America have actually come to a framework agreement on this trade situation and these tariffs. Wouldn't that be peachy? We're going to take your questions, folks, shortly about all this rioting. I do want to come over here tonight. I thought we had, let's see here. We're going to basically put the, let's see if this will work. Let's see here. Nope, that's not it. We had a live feed coming out of Chicago. And if you'll bear with me 1 second, let's see here. This is Karen Bass. She is speaking right now in LA. No, this is actually not Karen Bass. This is, let me put this up for you. I know you can't see anything but the black screen of me, but this is a live stream tonight.
Big
Coming,
retailers
hang
don't
on
want
just a
you to
second.
have this zoom lens.
Is that Rumble?
But there's
I didn't
nothing
want
they
to do Rumble. I wasn't trying to get Rumble. I don't want to do Rumble. I'm trying to get this. Hang on just 1 second. May not let me do it. YouTube gets real funny about stuff. Let's see if this is going to do right. Yep, there we go. This is an ad, and once that ad passes, we're going to skip that ad. There it is right there. This is Denver tonight, and we've also got video we're going to show you in a minute from Chicago. Denver, Chicago now, Illinois, Dallas, Texas last night. We've had 200 arrests today in LA, at least that many. There may be more coming tonight, but this is beginning to bubble in all other nations, and there's the Mexican flag again. And folks, this is an act of war. This is an act of war, as far as I'm concerned tonight. Let me see here. I want to just take a poll tonight. Let's see here. I'm going to say, do you think what Mexico is doing, let's see here, is an act of war against the United States? All right, we're going to post that right there. That's a poll I want you to take. And I'm going to just, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that poll, and we're going to put it over here in the Facebook thing as well. And just you say yes or no, and we'll see how this turns out. I've got a feeling I know what people are going to say. If you got a question, go ahead and be putting those in. But this is a live feed, folks. Right now, that is Denver. Karen Bass was on here a while ago, and I couldn't read her lips. I was watching the comments in the YouTube thing down here below, and I might as well just go ahead and get it out of my system. We just got some plain, blank, dumb American citizens that are buying into the fact that ICE is the perpetrators of this violence. The reason you're seeing these protests is because of ICE and Trump. And that's what she was out there saying again tonight. Couple of news stories, and we'll just show you the newswire and come back to this. This is out of Gateway Pundit tonight. We're going to talk about this story right here. I'm going to highlight, did it turn blue when I run my mouse over it? The grand jury's returned a 3-count indictment charging McIver with forcibly interfering with federal law enforcement. That's when she was busting up the ICE thing here a few weeks ago. 17 years in prison. They need to. Basically, there's some other things. They've ordered a curfew for downtown Los Angeles. This is Karen Bass, right? This was just a few minutes ago. She was out there speaking. And I think we've got video on this and audio. Roll the tape.
Looting. Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night, there were 23 businesses that were looted. And I think that if you drive through downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number of properties. So my message to you is, if you do not live or work in downtown LA, avoid the area. Law enforcement will arrest individuals who break the curfew, and you will be prosecuted. Hundreds of officers from police and sheriff departments from across the region and state are working alongside LAPD through a unified command structure. The curfew will be in place tonight from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m.
Okay, now, the reason I want you to listen to that, let me bring my screen up here. It's easier just for me to do this instead of going back and forth. That way I cover the ads anyway. My question to Miss Bass is this. Okay, you're putting LA under a curfew in one breath, but you're telling the country tonight that all this is just peaceful protesting. All right, if it's peaceful protesting, why the curfew? Why the curfew? I mean, if it's peaceful protest, why would you have to have a curfew? You see, Bass is talking out both sides of her. It rhymes with her name. I'll let you fill in the blank. But this is how these Dems do. Gavin Newsom tonight got caught with his pants on fire. He claimed that President Trump has not called him. He did not call him before he sent the Marines in. Trump called him Saturday night around 10 o'clock and spoke to him for 16 minutes. Trump even said today the first call didn't go through. The second call went through. They talked for 16 minutes. Newsom's out there claiming, screaming that he's not had any contact. He even told people today, he said that call never happened. Well, Trump, the way Trump does things, he showed people that it did happen. In fact, I may have the screenshot of that if I can find it right here. We got all sorts of good stuff to get to tonight. If we got time, we don't run out of time. We may have to have Jeemes Akers on Thursday night, and that's fine. I thought we had it. We'll find it. Yeah, here's the video. This is Fox News. They've got the link. Fox News tonight. This is John Roberts about this brush up with Newsom, the liar. But Bass, that speaks out of both sides of something that rhymes with her name. But to me, is this: if you don't have rioting going on in your city, and all this is just peaceful protesters, and as the media's claimed, these just a bunch of rednecks having fun burning down cars. Nancy Pelosi said they were just letting off steam. Then why the curfew, Karen? Why the curfew? And Gavin Newsom's just a plain scumbag liar. Roll the tape.
Going on between Gavin Newsom and President Trump. Gavin Newsom, after President Trump said in the noon hour in the Oval Office that he called him yesterday or the other day, Gavin Newsom tweeted the following. He said, quote, "There was no call, not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines on our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to." Well, President Trump contacted me from Air Force One on his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, this is quoting the president, "get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is." Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday. But look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning. Which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time. There was an outgoing call for 4 seconds. And then there was an outgoing call for 16 minutes. So that from the president, which says is proof that he spoke to Gavin Newsom early in the morning, our time, late at night, Friday night, would have been June 6th, I guess, in Los Angeles. So, Governor, over to you for the response.
I was just going to say, that's next, right? We're waiting to see what Governor Newsom has a response to the president's. Essentially, what he has there is the receipt for what he says is the call that was made.
Yes.
In a long conversation. Yeah, exactly. In a 16-minute conversation. As you mentioned, as things were heating up is the timing of that call, as things were really just beginning to get started. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, that's the president.
Where will this go? Where will this go? Even Fox sometimes, I want to shake my head. Where does this go, Molly? Good grief. But this is Miss Bass right there tonight. This was just a few hours ago where they declared 9 o'clock tonight. This was right before we came on where they declared the curfew. It's just amazing, Ethel. It's just amazing. Actually, where is my, let me come back over here. It's just elementary, my dear Watson, that if you don't have need of a curfew, why put your city under a curfew, right?
Elementary, my dear
It's
Watson.
elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary, my dear Watson. This is the idiots that are handling this brush up. Here is some video of some of the stuff. Here's Nancy Pelosi today blaming Trump for everything. Roll the tape.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets.
Let me back this up. This is the Dems that are out there claiming tonight that Trump is the one that's causing the violence in America and stirring up the violence. They forget that the videos that they do never get erased. The internet does have a digital footprint. The hypocrisy runs deep. This is very peachy, as the late Doc Holliday would say. Isn't this peachy? This is the Dems in their own words. Roll the tape.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
They go low, be kidding.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And that's the Dems for you, folks, and that leads to stuff like this. And some protester today found out the hard way. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Roll the tape.
After they arrest them. So once we're done with this live shot right here, we're going to go head over that way. You see, it appears to be California National Guard. Ooh, they're taking somebody down right now.
Right.
I don't know if they saw. Yeah, I don't know who those guys are or what they did, but you can see that appears to be. Is that California National? If it says ERO on their back, that would be ICE. That stands for Enforcement and Removal Operation. I can't tell. It's some sort of law enforcement, and they clearly did not. Yeah, they clearly did not like what the guy in the yellow was doing right there.
And he's got a mask on, by the way. He's covering his face.
So we'll ask and we'll see if we can find out what that guy did. It looked like he was loitering near a vehicle. Oh, it looks like a firework just got thrown in. So that's more of what.
That's today, folks. That's just today.
That frame there, Trace, and that's what we were just dealing with about 30 minutes ago while we were live on Hannity. We had the fireworks being thrown in our direction, in LAPD's direction. So this crowd is definitely getting a little bit more feisty tonight, Trace, and you mentioned it right off the top. That's exactly what happens out here when the sun starts going down with these LA. I think these might actually be feds based off some of the patches I'm seeing. These look like DHS guys to me. Yeah, HSI, police HSI, so that's Homeland Security Investigation. So those are feds, those are not locals, and that's probably why you see them being a lot more aggressive. The feds have been a whole lot more aggressive. Think about what we saw on Saturday in Paramount. That was Border Patrol, that was HSI, that was ICE squaring off against those protesters. So the feds just took somebody down there. I'm going to text a few contacts and see if I can find out what that guy did. But they ran right at him. They took him down. And Trace, just feels like the tension is building down here. I mean, there's got to be a million helicopters above us flying around trying to get every perspective you can possibly see. Some of them law enforcement, some of them media. That's an LA.
So the Dems do all this calling for violence over the last 4 to 6 years. And then when stuff like this comes on, the people they blame is Trump. The people they blame is Trump. The people they blame is Trump. This is Chicago tonight, folks. This stuff is spreading. This is Chicago. Just a few minutes ago, Nick Sortor posted this. Downtown Chicago. Just within the last half hour. Here's something in Omaha, Nebraska today.
Oh my God!
Language warning. You may hear a few words. You may hear a few words. Did you hear him? Don't touch me. 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 I'm standing in front of your car trying to prohibit you from going to arrest somebody, but don't touch me when you get out and try to arrest me. Touch her. Arrest her. Deport her.
Fucking media!
Folks, this was Omaha, Nebraska today. That goes on another minute, and I don't know how that ends. I'm going to play it one more minute. This is Omaha, Nebraska today. Denver, Colorado. Chicago, Illinois tonight. San Francisco last night. Dallas, Texas last night, briefly. Jeemes Akers lives in Southern Ohio. Was happening in his knee. You heard him last night. Roll the tape. One more minute of this. This is what the ICE agents are dealing with every second right now of every day in the cities across this country.
Make sure you record this. Get back. Record this. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. That was the team. Fucking big fuck you guys. Fuck you.
Sorry for the language.
I'll break him more, bitch. Which one? I'll break him more, bitch. I'll break him more. Fuck you. No.
They should round every one of these individuals up, throw them in the pokey, not think twice about it, charge them with obstruction of justice, throw away the book, throw away the key, let them sulk, pout, let the media say what they want to do. This is from Immigration and Customs Enforcement Supporters, a website on, I think it was Instagram. Federal agents are now clashing with workers. These were workers at a meat packing plant after an ICE raid. And it literally says our officers are being beaten, vilified, and attacked. We will always support those who protect us. God bless ICE. Folks, 11 officers have been injured, and that's what we know about. That number's probably higher, but that's going on in our country tonight as we speak. Here's Ron DeSantis on his take of it. He's offered to help Newsom. This is what he got when he offered to help Newsom.
We offer help, and we get help when we have hurricanes and things like that. Their response, though, was that somehow us offering help was going to, quote, inflame the situation. No, what's inflaming the situation are the illegals that are burning cars and looting stores. and are out there blocking traffic. That's what's inflaming the situation. The way to put the fire out is to make sure you have law and order.
Make sure you have law and order. I like Ron DeSantis. I think a DeSantis Vance ticket or a DeSantis Rubio ticket would rock the world.
We offer help, and we get help when we have hurricanes and things like that. Their response, though, was that somehow us offering help was going to, quote, inflame the situation. No, what's inflaming the situation are the illegals that are burning cars and looting stores and are out there blocking traffic. That's what's inflaming the situation. The way to put the fire out is to make sure you have law and order.
And this is what happens when you don't have law and order. This was this afternoon in LA. She drove her motorcycle into a group of police officers and ICE agents.
Sit here.
And folks, that is going on. But again, I say this to Karen Bass tonight and the left. If all this is just peaceful, why the curfew? Why are you putting a curfew on LA? I mean, if these just a bunch of redneck crackers that are just having a ball driving motorcycles and police gangs and throwing firecrackers. Those little pops you're hearing are firecrackers that people are throwing at the horses to get the horses. Those of you that have horses, you know how they can be at loud sounds. But, hey, you know, these bunch of redneck crackers, that's all they're doing is having some fun, according to Nancy Pelosi today and the people at the KTTV LA radio station. Why the curfew, Karen? Why the curfew? Because you know good and blanking well it's not a peaceful protest. You know good and blanking well what's going on. Here is a lady today that tried to corner Pete Hegseth about this on Capitol Hill. She learned the hard way. Again, if you mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns. You're going to get the horns.
Mr. Secretary, we're both from Minnesota. I was in the Twin Cities during the riots that followed the murder of George Floyd. Tens of thousands of protesters took to the streets for days. Governor Walz made the decision.
Lie number one.
To call up the Minnesota National
Lie number two.
Guard. At no point did we need the citizens of Minnesota request that the Marines be deployed.
Lie number three.
Our state and local law enforcement, along with our National Guard, who have worked on crowd control, they were more than enough. They were more than capable of.
Lie number four. Folks, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Kenosha went up in flames. The whole state of freaking Minnesota went up in flames. This is a representative, McCollum, Democrat representative from Minnesota. This is why we don't trust politicians. This is why we trust herpes more than we trust politicians. Roll tape.
Handling this situation. History has proven that law enforcement and the National Guard are more than capable of handling situations more volatile than what happened this weekend.
Lie number six.
We all see the continuous loops on TV, but this looks nothing like the George Floyd protest.
Lie number seven. It looks very much like the George Floyd protest. Maybe not quite as intense, but it's the same group that's doing it, the same money behind it, the same principle behind it. One was racially motivated. When you get down to it, this is racially motivated too because it's Hispanics now instead of blacks that are in the crosshairs, and people thinking these poor families are being terrorized because ICE is just trying to enforce the law and take rapists, murderers, child traffickers, pedophiles, pornography, child porn pushers, assaults, people that are killing people, DUI people, and just a lovely bunch. Murderers, you know, people that just slash people, cut people up, drive cars into nurseries to kill people, and so forth. But hey, this is nothing like the George Floyd riots.
Or the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles.
It has everything that has earmarks of a Rodney King riot. I don't know where this lady's from. I don't know what you Minnesotans are smoking. But whatever it is, please give me a puff of it.
In 1992. Mr. Secretary, this is a deeply unfair position to put our Marines in. Their service should be honored. It should not be exploited.
Well, Congresswoman, thank you for the question.
Her bent here, and Hexteth is about to body slam her verbally, and he should. He should. What he's about to do is justified. She's railing on the Marines that Hexteth sent to LA, 700 of them, to calm this crap. This is Pete's response. I love Pete Hexteth. I'd actually vote for him if he ran for president.
You are right. We are both originally from Minnesota, which is why I recall 2020 quite well, when Governor Walz abandoned a police precinct and allowed it to be burned to the ground, and also allowed 5 days of chaos to occur inside the streets of Minneapolis.
And that is the first truthful thing you heard in that video. He allowed protesters to literally burn down the city of Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Kenosha, the Wisconsin governor. And that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. It's pathetic. It is pathetic. A couple more videos. This is... I think that's all the video we got, actually. Yeah. We'll have more Thursday night. This is an interesting one, though. My dear wife sent this to me tonight. This is weird. This is from a lady in Denver at the airport. I'm going to check into this more, but it caught my attention because this is just weird. But considering the other videos that we've showed tonight, I guess on a scale of 1 to 10 on the weirdometer, this is probably going to register about a 3 compared to the weird stuff we've already seen tonight. But I'll just let her tell you what she was being told about something that's about to happen. Roll the tape. We're going to talk about the 14th of June after this and then wrap it up tonight.
I have been kidnapped, me and my kids. Today will be a worse day than 9/11 attack. This is an act of war at United States of America. This piece of woman thinks she knows what's happening. We have programmed her to be loyal and stupid enough to follow our rules. Not only to know how to run away if she got caught, but also to explode an airplane like a pro. We have a weapon that you don't have, Americans. And we are getting USA on the knees. China, Europe, Middle East, Japan are all one hand against USA. And this stupid running woman thinks she can save you by providing information that she's trying to provide and nobody listening to her. You are losing that war since 9/11 already. The last airplane, the helicopter that got fall down, it wasn't an accident. I know who did it.
The police are just listening to her, and the question is this a bunch of, is this lady just a crazy as loons, or is this really going on? I guess it remains to be seen. About another minute of this. Roll the tape.
Please, they are taking the video. Please go away from the video, please, ma'am. Please.
It's amazing when they start telling the police what to do.
This is for my safety. I am a U.S. citizen and I have rights.
Your rights, you have a right, but you don't have a right to sit in an airport and post something like that, moron.
Can you please take video of me doing this? It's just little bit and I am done.
Ma'am, you've been denied boarding.
We need to keep this in.
You've been denied boarding with your airline.
She's trespassing.
I am sorry, I am not trespassing anybody, okay? They did this to me every time I am trying to report. They will say I am trespassing and they will take me to jail.
They probably will take her to jail. I think that's how it all ends. I'll just leave that. That's just one of those File 13 things. I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this or not, but I found it very intriguing. And the reason it's intriguing is this. Today, and we will talk about this more with James Akers on Thursday night. There's Karen Bass, by the way, but I want to share a story with you tonight. This is the Al-Qaeda leader that has called on Muslims in America to launch terror attacks and assassinate President Trump and his cabinet. This was today. We talked about this on the radio, and it's ironic that the lady in Denver's doing this, and this came out this morning. Now, again, I'm not trying to draw any conclusions that these are connected. They probably are not, but timing is everything. Sabin bin al-Alawaki. Why can't these Muslims just give us a name like Leroy or Matthew or John or something? But Sahad bin Atif al-Awaki, the newly anointed leader of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, has issued a chilling call to arms targeting the president. I'm going to read you his statement in English, okay? And then I'm going to play the video of him speaking in Arabic. We're in good shape. We've only been going an hour and 9 minutes, so we're going to keep you for a little bit. You got questions, go ahead and put them in the house tonight. We'll get James on Thursday night. As a first practical and immediate measure, I call upon every Muslim in the infidel, criminal, and arrogant United States. It does not matter if they are of Arab, American, or other descent. What matters is that they are Muslim, and I didn't mean to call the lady a moron. And the prophet is Muhammad. There are 4.5 million Muslims in America alone, and I'm saying to all of them, revenge. Revenge. Do not consult anyone about killing infidel Americans. You should have a lot of determination, and the list of your targets should be effective. Go after the scum of the earth and its greatest criminals. This is Trump and his VP. This is Elon Musk and his advisors, or any supporter in terms of finance, administration, and technology. These include his Secretary of State and his Secretary of Defense. Go after their families and all those who have any ties to or close to the politicians of the White House. Here he is. You're going to hear that statement. Chris gave you the English translation of it. This is him today in
ثم
Arabic.
إننا ندعو ومن الآن كإجراء عملي أولي كل مسلم على أرض أمريكا الكافرة المجرمة المتغطرسة سواء أكان من أصول عربية أم أمريكية أو غيرها. المهم أن يكون دينه الإسلام ونبيه محمدا عليه الصلاة والسلام، والذين بلغ تعدادهم 4.5 مليون مسلما في أمريكا وحدها. نقول لهم جميعا الثأر الثأر، لا تشاوروا أحدا في قتل الأمريكان الكفرة، ولتكن همتكم كبيرة وقائمة استهدافاتكم مؤثرة، فدونكم عتاة الأرض وأكابر مجرميها، فهذا ترامب ونائبه، وهذا مستشاره وداعمه ماليا وإداريا وتقنيا إيلون ماسك، وهذان وزيرا خارجيته ودفاعه وأهلوهم أجمعين، وكل من يمت لساسة البيت الأبيض بصلة أو قرابة.
That was him in Arabic today. By the way, the United States has placed a $6 million bounty on top of his head to capture him dead or alive. He has praised suspects who've carried out a spate of recent anti-Semitic terrorist attacks recently, as well as those behind the July 13th assassination attempt of President Trump. He's inciting the believers, and he left us with this little jewel at the bottom. Do not leave a single safe place for Jews. Just as they have not left any homes, shelters, or respite for the Palestinians, even hospitals are being bombed. Over the heads of the sick and wounded and the heads of the women, children, and elderly take revenge. Man, that sounds like Stu Peters stuff. I wonder if him and Stu are margarita drinking buddies. Had to throw that one in. That's tonight, folks. That is tonight. I'm just looking at the headlines before we take your questions. And there is the grand jury tonight. This is Greg Gutfeld. I wouldn't play this. This usually is good. This is, there's been 2 wins tonight, by the way, by the courts. Gavin Newsom's attempt to stop the military from being deployed has been shot down by a Clinton judge. And you see the article down here at the bottom. Federal Appeals Court has now ruled that Trump's tariffs can remain in effect for now. And that's a win. That is a win. I love what Victor says. Surely we are not this stupid. Victor, you're overestimating. I think you're... Don't ask that question, because some people take it as a challenge, friend. Don't ask that question, because yes, we can. Here's Greg Gutfeld tonight. I love Greg. Best host on Fox. Roll the tape.
The multiple reports, ABC News' longtime correspondent
Terry Moran's
out of a job after posting an anti-Trump social media rant. Moran was previously suspended for calling Stephen Miller a world-class hater. That comes as the liberal media calls Trump a dictator and a fascist for rolling out the National Guard. And one guy was comparing ICE agents to slave catchers.
This reminds me historically of it's not a clear analogy, but when the nation, when these political factions divided the nation between slaveholders and slave catchers.
Trump is militarizing that state as a test run to make sure that he can do it in places like New York.
He's decided to throw out all the rules. You know exactly what his intentions are. He's blonde Berlusconi.
Oh, while their anchors swear torching Waymos is mostly peaceful, CNN's Brian Stelter's out here playing the fact-check fairy, warning us that riot videos might be misleading because some clips are 2 days old.
You got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be CNN and MSNBC reporters. How does that song go? Where's Waylon Jennings where I need him? They're dumb as animals and stupid as trucks. Brian Stelter should get on a bus. Balmas, don't let your babies grow up to be CNN reporters.
Hey,
I just made that up.
2 days ago. And that's, it only matters because it can give people a false impression of what's actually happening at a moment of unrest.
All right, Brian Stelter, Greg, explaining the concept of time.
Yes. I will get to him in a minute, but it's always a welcome surprise when I see that pudgy little fella. I miss him. The media downplays the violence and the mayhem because they support the cause. They wax poetic about.
Roger Hooker, that goes to your comment. The Dems feel justified. They're justifying these things, and the protesters feel justified because they're getting gasoline and they're getting wind from the media, wind from the Congress, these congressional Dems, and wind from even some Christians. But Greg's about to explain why the media goes unhinged and they're not interviewing and they're not talking to any of the rioters.
Everything but the victims, as Harold pointed out. There are victims. If this were their house, if this was Stelter's house, he'd be dialing 911 until his fingers bleed. He might even put down a donut to call 911. What I find interesting is how come these networks aren't interviewing the protesters? There's a selective shielding going on. They know the protesters are the worst spokesman for the protest. So as the media, we'll take care of that for you. We don't need to interview them. We will be, your spokesman. And their delusional commentary alongside the videos of the rioters and the arson is a perfect juxtaposition of reality and ideology. Our eyes, we can see the destruction, but their mouths are trying to get into our ears, telling us it's mostly peaceful, but there's no better persuasion than the visual. Every video strengthens Trump's position and reminds us how wrong the media was on everything from the summer of love to the fall of Biden. Little seasonal pun there. But let's get to Stelter and all these other losers. Do you ever wonder who the media is talking to? It's not the public. They no longer watch or believe or care what these people have to say. The media is talking to the media.
So true.
CNN, MSNBC, they are reduced to being the homeless man muttering to his reflection in a CVS window.
Perfectly said.
When he nods, so does his reflection. But they can't see this. It's no longer a blind spot. It's a complete, total eclipse. And probably the biggest change in culture is the emancipation of the public from the legacy media. We are free from these zombies.
And they have freed us by exposing themselves as rank partisans. Martha, Terry Moran out at ABC.
Yeah, with Brian Stelter, I love the fact checking that he's doing there. I mean, the
Basically, the principle would be if you were showing Minnesota and you were saying, this is what happened last night in Los Angeles, that's a bad idea, right? If you're showing a continuous protest that has basically been going on since Friday night, and you say, well, this was Tuesday, this is today, the story is continuing. It's the same story. So I think it's pretty easy to make that clear. It's not like overnight, you talked about a ferry, that the fairy godmother came in and made everything perfect in Los Angeles, so we shouldn't be talking about it anymore. And to Greg's point, it's true that many of these covering this story have become sort of the proxy for the protester. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, here's what's happening here. They're not walking up to the man with the flag from Mexico and asking him the obvious question, which is, why are you waving a flag from Mexico? Aren't you actually angry with the American situation, the government that you find here, that you feel is being oppressive to you? If you're going to wave a Mexican flag, why not just go back home? I mean, imagine if thousands of people crossed into Canada and started burning, waving American flags and
Rolando mentioned that already. I'm not going to play all of that. He already mentioned that, folks. If he was to take an American flag into Mexico, he'd be thrown in jail. If he was to take an American flag in any of these nations and fly it, like what these protesters are doing here, we wouldn't see you again. Boy, I thought my song would get at least a laugh or a thumbs up. I just bombed. Chris is not going to sing any more songs on this show. One final thing tonight, and then we'll take your final questions if there's any. Don't have many popping in. We'll take a few comments, and Roger Hooker's got a few good ones over on Facebook tonight. The radical leftist organization No Kings, and I want to show you their website tonight, folks. This is intriguing that nokings.org. This is all coming down on a day that, by the way, the 14th of June is President Trump's birthday, and it is also going to be the celebration in D.C. for the 250th anniversary of the Army. And they're not hiding what they're wanting to do. I mean, they're absolutely not hiding what they wanted to do. It's the protest day, and it says they've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. On June 14th, we rise up. Find an event near you on the map below. Folks, all of that right there, all those places, is where they're planning protest. I'm going to check locally here. I've not heard of anything locally in my town. But I wouldn't doubt if there's not going to be something here in Knoxville and East Tennessee. It's all 50 states, and I'm not sure what the 5 stars are there. It may, or six stars there. It may be the main hubs. That looks like Atlanta. Looks like definitely one. Chicago's probably one. The interesting thing about this, they're not protesting in D.C. They're protesting in Philadelphia, and that is mind-blowing. Looks like Phoenix, and then down south, that looks like to be Houston area, and that Texas area down there, that dot to the very south there. So I'm guessing Atlanta. That could be this one right there. Charlotte, yeah. The Charlotte Naked Emperor Rally and March. This is the Philadelphia March. No Kings in Philadelphia. No Kings Rally and March in Chicago. Did I say Phoenix? Yes, I was right. And Houston. Boy, that was a good guess. All these were good guesses. No Kings in Atlanta. So the 5 things, and then all of these smaller dots, folks. If you go to that website, look at there. All of these places, they've already got Columbus, Georgia, Pendleton, South Carolina, Bryson City, North Carolina. That's to my east. Crossville is to my west. That is just to my west. Johnson City, I'm going to come down here in Alabama. Selma, Alabama, has got a march plan. Looks like, let me see if this will go down. It doesn't tell me exactly. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Dothan, Alabama. Somebody very beautiful and special lives in Dothan. That comes to Saturday, June the 14th at 11 o'clock. They're going to be in my honey's area. LaGrange, Georgia. Tuscaloosa, Eureka Springs. Reason I'm clicking on these folks, these are smaller towns. I want you to look at this. All of these towns that you see a mark on, they've got places they've already got lined up to do this. That's a lot of folks. That's a lot of cities, folks. A lot of cities. So it's going to be a volatile weekend. I encourage you to be safe wherever you're at. I want to see if there's anything in my neck of the woods. Looks like Crossville is the closest to me, unless that one right there beside it. Cumberland Gap is a little bit even closer than that. Johnson City's to my east. Jackson is to my north. I don't see anything. Madisonville is to my south. So it's sort of close. West Jefferson, I'll be down south this weekend for Father's Day. Danville, Kentucky is just to my north. You need to be safe out there this weekend. We're going to cover this more Thursday night. Now, I know Wednesday is our face show, and we're going to continue that. There's a possibility we may pop in here tomorrow. We may do a Facebook Live tomorrow to keep you updated on what's going on. And if this thing escalates, folks, we'll have to come on early tomorrow night. We'll do an early bird, and then we'll have a face show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I really hate even dealing with the news on Wednesday, because we try to give that day to the Lord. We give Sunday, all day Sunday to Him, and Wednesday too. We'll give the morning Bible studies. But should there be breaking news, we'll pop in tomorrow. Jeemes Akers will be with me Thursday night. I want to thank Rolando Rodriguez. We thank him for coming tonight. Folks, I tell you what, this stuff is getting real. It's getting real, isn't it? And thank you, Cleo, for sending that to me. Military parade is on the 14th. That is true. That is true. And yes, Flag Day, Carol, it is. Pat Dolan says, Chris, is it possible we're headed for Trump to call martial law? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Pat and Deb, that's what they want. The left is salivating. They are salivating. They're hoping he will declare martial law. That's the purpose of this. That's the purpose of this. And I'm going to say something tonight, folks, and I know this is going to sound like a contradiction, and it's not. I want to stress something I said last night before we signed off. I agree in principle with President Trump sending these Marines to California. I do, because I think that he's trying to make sure that Los Angeles doesn't turn into the summer of whatever that happened in 2020. And Carol, you're right, it is Flag Day too. I knew there was something else. Flag Day, Trump's birthday, the Army, the DC parade, and these protests. That's a huge map. It's a huge map. We do not want to see military on our streets in America. I know that we on the right tonight, we're agreeing that in principle we agree with what President Trump's doing about the military, and I'm okay if the National Guard and the police in LA cannot quelch these protests and things get out of hand, then you got to do what you've got to do. But I want to caution our listeners about something tonight. If we do it, and we go down this rabbit hole and we open this Pandora's box, there may be a left-leaning president in the White House again one of these days. And maybe perhaps we Christians are having an event. Maybe it may be a prayer rally. Maybe it may be something about abortion, a Right to Life march maybe in D.C. And some left-wing president may deem it a national security threat and don't think that's not going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. And he says, well, I tell you what, if the police can't put them all behind bars and stop them, I'll just get the military and we'll go do it military-wise. I'm just saying, you do not want a military presence in your country, in my country tonight, roaming the streets, trying to enforce laws that the police should be enforcing. And when you get down to it, if the police and the sheriff's departments of our country were doing their job, you wouldn't have to have the military or the National Guard. In this case, I'm in principle agreeing with what President Trump's doing, but I want to make sure you have this sense of caution and understand what we're opening up, because it works both ways. And once we go down this road, this can be used in a whole different manner with wrong people in power. So just keep that in mind, and please understand I'm not criticizing President Trump for doing it. I think that he's in a very precarious situation. And Pat and Debbie, your question, where if this don't stop soon, the moon, I'm looking at the moon outside my window, so it's very beautiful tonight. If this don't stop, Pat and Deb, yes, I do believe that there could be something, but even martial law is not something we want. We just don't want it. I'm telling you, it's something. I get this sense, and I may be wrong. This is Chris's opinion and nothing else. I think they're baiting him up. I think that these protests are to bait him up into doing just that. And while it may be the only viable solution to this, it's not a good solution. If that makes sense. Because it opens a Pandora's box for the next president in power, and the next one that comes may not be a Republican. It could be Joe Biden II. It could be Barack Obama II. It could be Hillary Clinton, for God's sake. It could be anybody on the left. And they may take this to their extreme and define us out here as a threat. So just keep that in mind. That's just some thoughts. These thoughts are mine. These thoughts are mine. Put some fire in that house if you enjoyed the show tonight. If you enjoy the show, Milwaukee is playing. Chris Davis says the left wants violence and death, and they have no idea what's coming for themselves and their own family and loved ones. Chris, there is some truth to that. I think that their Trump hatred syndrome is so deep they don't care. I think they probably know that. I think they've crossed the line where that don't even... I think Greg Gutfeld said it. If Brian Stetzer, if this stuff was happening in his house, in his neighborhood, and these thugs were throwing bricks into his home and burning his cars and threatening his wife and kids with rape, murder, and whatever, I don't think Brian Stetzer would care whether the video was 2 days old or not. He wouldn't be spewing such nonsense. He wouldn't be doing what he's doing. None of these media types would. But that's what they're doing. I don't think they care. I think that they've just reached this point that to get Trump and to push this anarchy and chaos, I want to say it again, folks, I really believe it's a bait. It's a bait and switch. Because the more Trump has to do things such as martial law and the military, he just looks more and more, and I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying the perception will grow that he's nothing but a dictator and an authoritarian figure. And we've got too many people. Victor on Gateway Pundit says, can we be this stupid? Victor, please don't make it a challenge. There are people out there that would believe it, and I hate to say it, there's Christians that believe it tonight, folks. They're posting it on their Telegram rooms. That Trump is evil, and Musk is evil, and everybody's evil, and J.D. Vance is evil. Musk is the Antichrist. Trump is the Antichrist II. J.D. Vance is a tool. He's a chameleon. Marco Rubio, all of them are. I put it like this. I don't know who the real Antichrist is, but if he's out there tonight, he's probably got a bowl of popcorn, and he's eating the popcorn and laughing at the American church and its stupidity spiritually, calling all of these other people names. And it's amazing that the people that call and do this stuff are very anti-Semitic. Most of them, if you get down to their theology, it's always they push anti-Semitism. And they have no Bible literacy whatsoever. I don't mind saying that. I don't like saying that, but I don't mind saying it. I'll just leave it at that. Please join me in the morning Bible study. We had a great one this morning. We're going to have a better one tomorrow. I'm telling you, it's going to be good stuff all week. Tomorrow and Thursday. We may not be here Friday, but we need you to be with us in the morning. It's 10 o'clock on the faith side. We will have a faith show tomorrow night. Not sure whether we'll have a new show, but if we do, we'll be around 6 o'clock, and we'll be on about 30 minutes or so max, maybe 5. We may come on in the afternoon after the radio show. You can listen to us on radio, K-Star Talk Radio, at 2 o'clock, and we'll be talking about this there at least. That's our news show for Wednesday, really, when you get down to it. You don't get to see the cowboy hat and the Mac Man rant and rave in person, but you can hear him, and it's all audio instead of video. But please join us tomorrow. We'll keep you posted on these stories tonight. Did you get something out of this? I hope you did. Put some fire in that house if you did. Jason, you're absolutely right. He said these Q people have been wanting martial law. That is exactly right, brother. No, that is exactly right. It's exactly right. You're absolutely on target, buddy. Corey says if Democrats saw their low poll numbers, why are they doubling down on stupid Corey? That's easy. That's easy. They don't care. I think there's a part of them that they have gone so far. They've gone so far over with this Trump hatred. They don't care if they're running 5%. They will. I remember John Kerry back in 2004. There was a moment in that presidential race in the primaries before he actually won the Democrat nomination. He was polling at 6%. And ultimately, before it was over with, John Kerry, because the others, you had Howard Dean, and you had so many crazies on the Democrat side that people said, well, God, of the least crazy, Kerry is the least crazy of the crazies. And he wound up getting the nomination. And I tell you, it was close. Bush didn't beat him by much. Bush took Ohio, and with Ohio, it pushed him over the edge. And it wasn't Florida in 2004. It was Ohio that came in for Bush Jr. And I just think that I don't think the poll numbers matter to them at this point. I think they've got an agenda, and I just think that they know I tell you what they're counting on is the American public getting sick of Trump and sick of the Republicans in 4 years. And no matter how good the country may be going, they're banking on the restlessness of the voterate and the apathy of the voters. And I have to say this, they're counting on Christians being their water carriers of their stupidity. They're counting on preachers and counting on pastors to get behind pulpits and tell them how evil Trump is and how evil all this is. They're counting on it. And I wouldn't underestimate it. It's happened before. It will happen again. I get your question, buddy. I get it. And they are doubling down on stupid, but I don't think they care. I don't care. Tim Neal, good to see you. Thank you. It's good to see Jason Rankin. Jason, it's really good to see you tonight, buddy. Jason, I'm with you 1,000,000%. These Q people have been wanting martial law forever. They don't even think twice about what they're asking for. And I will say this. I've seen some of these types call for civil war. And they say this flippantly, like, well, we just need to take to the streets. And these cowardly you-know-whats they wouldn't leave the confines of their kitchen or their living room. They're sitting there typing this stuff on their phones and typing this stuff on their computers as if they've got some kind of authority to tell you to do that. They would send you out there to get shot up and killed, but they themselves wouldn't do nothing to defend this country. They're a bunch of spiritual pimp cowards. Pimp cowards. But I'm just warning our audience tonight, you may think this sounds sexy and rosy, the martial law and the military. You don't want this. You don't want to go down this road. Now, take that for what it's worth. Take that for what it's worth. All righty. Troy, you says, I think they should take down social media for a period. Troy, you don't want them to take down social media? Troy, that's playing right into their hands. That's what they want you to do. That's what I just said. All of this is a bait. It is bait to take down social media. It's a bait to suspend habeas corpus. It's a bait to declare martial law. Folks, what you going to think is going to happen? What would happen if, Troy, what would you say if that was a Democrat president in power tonight? Would you be pushing to take down social media? And I understand where you're coming from, But I'm telling you, that's the thinking. That's the thinking we gotta check at the door. We don't want that. We don't want that. We live in a free country, folks, and that includes freedom for those we don't agree with. And yes, it gives freedom to the nuts. The problem I've got with these protesters, and I heard John Kennedy from Louisiana. Jason Rankin got me thinking about the Q stuff, the nuts that believe JFK Jr. is still alive. Let me roll my eyes back into my socket. Let me tell you this. John Kennedy said it tonight. You got a right not to agree that ICE needs to be deporting people. I got no problem with people disagreeing that President Trump has a right to deport illegal aliens. They want to believe that, let them believe it. Just like people have a right that wanted to take that COVID shot, they wanted to take it. It's a free country. They can do what they want to do. The problem was they were trying to enforce that on us. This is a free country, even for people we don't like, even for people that we don't agree with what they're saying. But this is the line. This is the line that stops it from being free speech, is when it becomes criminal. Are we in agreement tonight that burning a car in the middle of a street is criminal? Yes. Are we in agreement that you looting an Apple store in LA today is criminal? Yes. Do we agree that busting glass out is criminal? Yes. Do we agree that being here illegally is criminal? Yes. Do we agree that murder is criminal? Yes. Do we believe assaulting police officers, taking a motorcycle, as you saw that girl do, and drive through a crowd of police officers is criminal? Yes. Yes. John Fetterman. God bless John Fetterman, the only Democrat that has any sense right now. He came out and said his party's a bunch of crazy loons and nuts. He said we've got no moral ground because we're endorsing anarchy and lawlessness. Way to go, Fetterman. That's when it becomes no longer an issue of free speech and freedom. It becomes criminal and lawless behavior. And you have every right to address it as such. But I warn again, and this is the influence of this damnable movement that has gotten in the psyche and the minds of people tonight, folks. You don't want your freedoms taken away just because you don't like something somebody is saying or doing. Now, when it's criminal and dangerous and it's lawlessness, that's a whole different ball of wax. You got a right to address that in any way you deem necessary. But I'm telling you, you don't want to go down this road. I'll amen myself. Thank you, Cleo. You can't lose free speech for all citizens. Bear agrees with me. That's 100%. Ho! Ho! 96-4 is our total tonight. Do you think Mexico, what they're doing is an act of war? 96-3. How did they get 96-3%? Even the computer can't count. 80 votes. Now, you 3% that don't think it's an act of war, at least tell me why. McFilesforum@gmail.com. I'd like to hear your comments. All righty. I'm done. I've been going an hour and 40 minutes. Didn't mean to go this long. But it is a Tuesday night. Thank you, Rorlando, inspirational man, good fella, my old buddy. Here's my picture I've been looking for. And where is it? Right there. We took this picture actually the day I went down to the border for the first time in May. And that's my buddy. That's Rolando Rodriguez. And you see that hat I gave him? I brought him a hat, and we took our hats in our picture. I think that was either I want to say that's the 21 event, but I want to say it's the first border feeding. But I had that shirt on. It may have been 21 because that's the day we got shot at by the cartels. Because I remember having that shirt on. And I remember the videos because I think it might be 21. But that's my buddy. And he's a dear friend. And he did a great job tonight. Put some fire in that house. Listen, I'm out of here on a Tuesday night. May the Lord bless you. We'll see you back here tomorrow night on Faith. Back here Thursday. Have a good night, everybody. Pray for your country, folks. Pray for your country. Pray for President Trump. Stay alert. Stay vigilant. Protect freedom. Protect freedom.